Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and welcome to the Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and welcome to the 4th episode of Oxygen Not Included, the Ultimate Base 2.0. Guys, I'm so grateful for the support on this series, you're absolutely killing it, thank you so much. I received 2 or 3 comments about what the rock crusher is for and the kilns. I might not have explained that enough. The rock crusher is in order to get refined materials first and foremost. Its secondary function is to get lime, and there's also the possibility to make sand. So if we don't have enough sand, we can use the granite in order to make some of it. The lime I can make from eggshells and also fossils once we discover it is actually in order to use in the steel production later on. The downside about this contraption is that you lose half of the mass of refined materials, so if you put in 100 kilograms of copper ore, you only get 50 kilograms of refined ore out of it. This is why it's not the best machine to refine your materials, but it is a necessity in the beginning until you have the refinery up and running. The kilns currently only have 2 recipes, the refined carbon, which is also used in the making of steel, I believe, and then the ceramic, which is the best material in order to build these insulated tiles if you want as little heat transfer as absolutely possible. Of course, later on there are gonna be space materials that are even better, but we're not quite at that stage yet. With that out of the way, what is the goal for today? Obviously, we're gonna keep working on our expansion. We wanna know and explore the entirety of the planetoid. We might want to switch to the grub fruit plants, set up a bunch of critter farms using sweetles, grubs, and also hatches. Maybe to get a better idea of our goals, let's have a look at the research tree right here. This is often a good indication what you can do as the next step. As mentioned, I would like to get into ranching, so there are a couple of things we can get from that. That is probably what we're gonna go for next. There are still many things we can research with our limited research. At the moment, we can only do the blue and purple research. Obviously, later on, there's gonna be the orange one, which is the next stage, and then the radioactive one, the green one right there. But we can still manage a lot with our current setup, even quite important things, I have to admit. Another research I would like to knock out of the park as soon as possible is the exosuit. Now, for the transit tubes, I noticed we are gonna need the radioactive research. So that is gonna be off limits for a little while, but we can do the exosuits and I'm happy about that. So with that out of the way, let's unpause. I would say ranching and exosuits are a noble goal for today's episode. By unlocking the exosuits, we will also be able to start working on a permanent living area. But for that, I probably first want to get into refining, and you will see why we want to wait for this when we get there. With that out of the way, I would say we are gonna keep on building upwards. I actually want to build the ladders now out of igneous rock, because that is the material we are getting most of on this level. So all of that is gonna be igneous rock, and they will be able to gather the materials from here and there. Another thing we don't have to worry about too much anymore is the chlorine. It is actually going to accumulate between the oxygen layer and the carbon dioxide layer, which is currently down here. And I think this might also be the place where we either set up a carbon skimmer or another way to get rid of the carbon dioxide. We also got a couple of skill points we should make use of. Marie, for instance, before she gets into hazmat digging, is gonna do improved carrying. And then we also have Ren, who could start working on super hard digging, or should we get into construction already? Nah, let's just do super hard digging, so he can help Marie with the harder materials as well. We got a couple of new printables available to us. Let's see. Rocketry could be interesting, not the most pressing issue right now. An operator would also be cool, but I can live without one. Maybe let's just wait for better duplicants. This is not my dream setup right now. We also want to keep working our way downwards, and for this I'm gonna use granite, since this is the material I'm gonna come across the most. Checking out my gases, we got rid of the entirety of the polluted oxygen on this level, so I think I'm also gonna take apart the 2 deodorizers here. And I'm also gonna keep on collecting a bunch of materials we can collect, I guess. Gene is researching like a madman. Hopefully this is gonna be it. Yes, wonderful. We have access to ranching. The first thing I want to do is sort out my hatchlings that I currently have. So I'm gonna go with a critter drop-off point. This is gonna allow us to wrangle up all of these hatches and bring them to a separate place. At the moment, they're just eating the food randomly. It's not that bad, but I would like to decide what I feed them, so we don't sacrifice any materials we don't want to sacrifice. Oh, I just noticed something. May is actually eating a pacu fillet. That is not good. What I would like you to do is eat cooked fish instead. So that is another thing we have to take care of in the consumables. I don't want them to eat the pacu fillets. They should eat the cooked version of it. What I now need actually is May upgrading one more time so we can get into critter ranching, and this is gonna allow her to wrangle up some critters. But yeah, I guess in the meantime we can just watch these duplicants do their thing. It is now time to get into the research spree for the exosuits. You see, we have to go through a whole bunch of research to actually get there, so we better get started on this one. The critter drop-off point is set. I'm gonna go ahead and designate hatches and hatchlings to be brought here. And as soon as May upgrades, we can wrangle up these bastards. We're already done with the ladders here. I'm gonna make another pocket for igneous rock accumulation. And then we can keep on building the ladders. Now we might want to be careful at this point a little bit. If we check this out, it is extremely cold in this place. And I just want to make sure we utilize this chill in order to cool down some stuff in our base. We just got another skill point with Bunhee. Bunhee is our supplier, tidier and everything. So improved carrying too. That's for sure. She should be able to carry as much as possible. As you can see right here, because we have reached a certain pressure, the bottles are not off-gassing anymore. So they are only gonna off-gas as long as we need it. Which makes me think we should maybe even pump the oxygen out of there to get it around the base quicker. We have 43 tons of algae. Yeah, we're not really in a hurry. I'm gonna focus on other things right now. I also noticed we dug up our first bleach stone, which is off-gassing chlorine. This is useful gas that we can utilize in the future. So what I'm gonna do is store this in the same bin as we are storing the polluted dirt at the moment. In consumable ore, we can find the bleach stone. And if you didn't know, the off-gassing chlorine has the capability of killing off germs, which as you can imagine is gonna be mighty useful. We're now also gonna dig into this place. That should be fun. Can I actually take this apart? No. That's just gonna be there. And there we go. May actually got her skill point, so into ranching she goes. I'm also gonna give her the appropriate hat, a cowboy hat. That is gonna be amazing. And now we can basically go ahead and wrangle up all the critters. Capture critters or the shortcut N, and then we're just gonna capture everything that is currently hanging around in our base, which is quite a few critters. I want to make sure May actually has the ranching as her priority, which she does. Okay, wonderful. That means, yeah, there we go. We can see her ranching up everyone. There she goes, actually delivering a bunch of hatches. She just puts them in her bag. Oh man, I love these dupes. We need to be a little bit careful with our ration box. As you can see, there is oxygen lurking around, and the oxygen is going to make our meals worse. They're gonna degrade over time, which is not something I approve of. So maybe if we put the ration box right here, we shouldn't run into that problem. However, this is not a good idea. Otherwise, I cannot make a smooth transition. I guess we'll have to do it right here. I don't want the food to drop all in the water, you know. Now check this out. We have some chill here in the joint that is from the materials that drop down all the way from the top. We can see some materials solidifying here because we have minus 57 degrees. Wow, that is kind of crazy. There we go. We can now move the ration box. I can go ahead and deconstruct this. Everything is going to be moved 2 blocks down, and we should be good on that account again. I'm going to sacrifice some coal to produce refined carbon for the steel production. And we are also going to create some more ceramic. I'm going to need a whole bunch when it comes to the living module, since I would like to surround it with a pure layer of ceramic. Another thing I would like to do is take this here completely apart. We also want to enter this room and get the rest of the polluted water. So actually everything right here can go as well. Just deconstruct it. Thanks to the deconstructible points of interest mod, we can also get rid of the lamps now. And there should also be a bunch of cablings, so more ore for us. Wow, well you look at that. Exosuits are already researched. My researcher is absolute insanity. I love it. That means we could now think about a setup that makes it possible for us to dig down even more, because at a certain point you just don't have enough oxygen down there, and it would be incredibly annoying to keep building downstairs, wasting tons of time getting fresh air. On the other side, I wonder if it is now time to plan out the living quarters. I think we might actually go ahead and do that in the next episode already then. Well, I guess in the meantime, let's go ahead and deconstruct these liquid tanks one more time, so we can keep on pumping up the polluted water. I think in preparation for our first critter farm there is something we want to take care of, namely a critter feeder. This is not going to be my farm just yet. What I want these guys to do is mutate into the stone hatchling form, which is going to be much easier to feed them. They're still going to give us coal, but we have a much higher variety of things we can feed them, especially useless stuff. Well, not useless, but things we have plenty of, such as granite. If we have a look at one of these hatchlings and scroll down a little bit, you can see what you can feed them. Quite a few things. What we actually have to do is feed them sedimentary rock in the beginning to get the stone hatchlings. So under hatchlings we want to give them sedimentary rock, at least until we have a couple of stone hatchlings in the joint. Jean earned another skill point, and I would like to give her Mechatronics Engineer in due time, so maybe that's a good thing to work on right now. We're gonna need a couple more skill points, but more importantly, we will be needing more morale to acquire that. We get some more printables, and as it happens, we just received a couple of Draclet eggs. Not sure we're gonna do Draclet farms this time around, but it's good to already have access to them anyways. Otto also got another skill point that I'm gonna spend on crop tending. And that is actually another thing I haven't explained just yet. If there is a heart next to the skill, they don't require as much morale, or they actually will be getting additional morale points, so it's not that much of an impact to choose one of these skills. Also, the first tier right here requires 1 morale, the second tier 2 morale, and the third tier 3 morale. And there's even a fourth tier for the hazmat digging. I feel like for now we have enough hatches, so what I'm gonna do is cook up some of the eggs we already got around the base. Currently there are 5 units. That's gonna result in 5 delicious omelets. Also, I noticed we got some rotten stuff hanging around. Within the refinement we should have access to the compost. I'm gonna set up 1 compost here on the top. They also produce a lot of heat, but we need to be a little bit careful with the compost. They actually use it to purify polluted dirt into normal dirt. And I actually would like to keep the polluted dirt. Unfortunately, there is no way to prevent this from happening, I believe. Maybe if we have set this to a lower priority, so this is priority 5, and then the polluted dirt chest is priority 7, that might work. But I'm not 100% sure. What I do know though is that we can now sweep up the rotten stuff and bring it over to the compost, and you want to do that because they are also off-gassing polluted oxygen. We might have to observe this for a little bit. We can see the rotten stuff actually got brought over to the compost. But so is the polluted dirt. Not necessarily what I want. Yeah, not a fan of the composts, I have to admit. We might have to find a different solution. Maybe I can go into organics here and also take the rot pass and everything compostable. Just store it in the submerged chest for the time being. And by the way, the reason we want to keep the polluted dirt is in order to feed poke shells that in due time are going to provide us with sand as well as more lime. So another 2 resources we can replenish. Another thing I noticed that is happening is these guys are always disinfecting the insulated tiles, and that is because they are touching some slime. So I want to get rid of that slime, and this is actually bad. Yeah, I need to open this up now as well so they can actually get the slime, and we have no slime lung accumulating there. We currently have idle duplicants, which is a sin at this stage of the game, so we want to dig our way over here towards the left in order to uncover more of the terrain. And we might want to do the same thing here at the bottom, just see what's up over there. What other interesting things we'll be able to find. Right here, I also want to sweep this up, and then we can take apart this pump. It's not needed anymore. We can also take apart all of the cabling and the piping we've done for this. Marie right here is suffering from hypothermia because it's very cold up here, but she's also got a major eye irritation, which is because of the hydrogen surroundings here. Hydrogen is always floating up to the top, so this is going to all accumulate here. Every piece of hydrogen we uncover is going to naturally accumulate up there. So maybe in the spirit of that, we want to open up all the hydrogen pockets as well. Let's actually also open up this chlorine pocket. And we might want to do the same thing over here. Just open this up, make sure everything flows naturally to where it belongs. As a last project for today's episode, I would like to introduce the refinery, which we still have to unlock. The reason I want to do that is because if we go ahead and have a look at the stations here, the exosuit forge is gonna require us to have some steel. I already found some steel by deconstructing a couple of things in the world, but it is not enough. Also, as a side project, I would like to take care of the heat that is emitting from the batteries and the coal generators just a little bit. So I think what I'm gonna do, actually let me do this on the other side. We're gonna set up 2 storage bins like so, and what I'm gonna do is tell my duplicants to store a little bit of this really cold material in those storages. In due time, of course, we want to cool down our bases using pipes, but this is a good early game way to do it. There we go, storages are in place. Let's see what types of materials we have up here. Some igneous rock, actually mostly igneous rock. Within raw materials, we should find that. Igneous rock, wonderful. I'm gonna set this to priority 6 for the time being, copy the settings over. Actually, that wasn't working at all. We have to set it to sweep only, otherwise they're just gonna collect the igneous rock from here. So instead, I'm gonna tell them to take the materials from here. One thing I'm actually gonna do in preparation for my refinery is make a pipe all the way up here. I'm gonna build this out of insulated materials. We take apart some more here, and we're also gonna set up a tile in this place. And lastly, I want a vent right there. What I actually intend with this is use my water that I currently have stored in here. It's between 25 to 27 degrees. We're gonna input that into our refinery and then pump the heated up water upstairs in order to get it solidified with the extreme cold temperatures we have up there. Once it is sitting up here all solidified, we are gonna bring it back down into our water pool in order to liquefy again and at the same time cool down our liquid a little bit. Now we can actually see these storage bins are cooling down a little bit. We can also expel the igneous rock to make this process even faster. So this is extremely cold right here, and this should transfer the chill over to our cold generators, and then eventually also this stuff here is gonna get a little bit cooler. We also got the fire pole research done. I think I'm gonna sacrifice some of my material to build poles. This is gonna allow my duplicants to travel down in a very quick fashion. Looks like we have a couple more skills available. Bunhee is gonna go right into improved strength, allowing her to pick up even more materials. I'm gonna wait with Marie until we have a way to get more morale. The same thing with Ren. No, actually Ren can take another skill. Yeah, let's also give him the super duper hard digging skill, including a hat. There you go, buddy. As you can see, this technique actually works quite well, and you can also see it was important that we sealed off the base. And I'm happy to say we just finished the research. Within the refinement, we will find the metal refinery. Let's go ahead and place this down right here. The metal refinery itself is gonna take 1200 watts. So what we actually want to do is make a setup for its own power, and we're gonna use 2 coal generators for this. Of course, there is a plant that had to be in the way. Anyways, we can already go ahead and set up a cable connection to the smart battery. And then we are actually going to need the advanced wire. Since this wire is only going to take 1000 watts, let's hop over into research again. Have a look at the power section, and what we want to unlock is probably the conductive wire. We can also do with the heavy watt wires. Since we don't need to go very far, it shouldn't be an issue. But I'm still going to research both. Eventually we need all of that good stuff here. Better cabling for the most part. We're also going to take our insulated piping and connect it right here with the output of the refinery, and then we also want to have an input that comes from our water pool here. So I guess maybe at this point we just want to go up. It doesn't really matter how we do this for the time being. All I want is to end up right here in the input of the refinery. Naturally, we also require a liquid pump that goes right there. And we want to go ahead, hook this up to power as well. If we have a look at our wire at the moment, the potential load is 935 watts. So even if everything runs at the moment, we shouldn't run into problems. However, attaching the pump is going to overshoot that target. That means as long as we don't use the rock crusher during the time when this pump is active, we shouldn't run into issues. Actually, this pump right here is stuck at the moment because all the liquid reservoirs are full. That means if I don't deconstruct these reservoirs when we are using this pump right here, I should also not run into issues, and I can still use the rock crusher. We have unlocked the heavy watt wire. I'm actually just going to use that in order to build it. The other wire requires refined materials as well, which I don't have a lot of right now. And I would like to avoid using the rock crusher for my future refined crafts. For the reason mentioned before, we don't want to lose half of the mass. There we go, water is running all the way up into the refinery. It is filling the metal refinery with 800 kilograms of coolant. We should also be able to build the second generator. There we go, the first one is actually already going for it. We're also going to set this to 95% and 50% as a low threshold. There we go. Metal refinery is full with 800 kilograms. Let's check out the steel crafting. We need a little bit of refined iron in order to do that. So we are gonna start with about 10 crafts of iron. I don't want to use this setup for long, but I think in the beginning this is a nifty solution, you know, if you want to have it easy. The metal refinery itself shouldn't heat up too much and it can still use the surroundings in order to cool down. We can see Marie is crafting the refined metal and we can see the coolant coming out of here. It is now 57 degrees and it entered at around 25 degrees. So you have to take this seriously. So the water is now traveling all the way up. It shouldn't give off too much heat to the surroundings since we have insulated pipes, but right here it should be getting solidified very soon. And by that I just mean it freezes over. We can actually see that right here. I just love these color gradients. And we already have our first ice right there. As soon as we have some ice, we actually want to store that back down here in our water pool, get that back. Let's actually see if I can build this here. The duplicants don't have to get wet to reach that. Just want to make sure you guys do this quickly. There we go. Wonderful. In here, we want to have a look at liquefiable and store the ice we just collected. Let's put this to priority 6. So the duplicants are doing that by themselves. New duplicants, I'm gonna print myself a Sweetle larva. It's not quite necessary since we have Sweetles available right there as well. We can now see people are picking up the ice. Be a little bit more efficient about it, please. They are using the poles to travel down quickly, storing it in this bin. Absolutely wonderful. Inside of this chest, as you can see, it is going to heat up. It is gonna give off some chill and then eventually once it reached above 0 degrees, it is going to liquefy again. This way we're able to recycle the water with quite a basic strategy. Sure, they do get soggy feet. We might be able to fix that by setting up a couple of ladders like so, and then we take apart some more tiles. And once that is built, they should be able to use the ladders and not get soggy feet again. All of this we're only doing in order to get the initial steel for the exosuit, which means in the next episode we will be able to build our living area, which is going to be quite a project. And also the most interesting thus far. There we go. As you can see, all the water is actually gone at this point. Everything has frozen over and it's ready to be recycled. Also in terms of heat, this is still good. It doesn't matter if you have a little bit of space free between the insulated tiles. As you can see, we're holding up quite well. I'm now also going to make this sweep only actually. And we are going to release the liquefiable just for a brief moment. Actually, there's also polluted ice. We don't want to pick that up because obviously that is going to result in polluted water. We're done with the iron crafts. As I mentioned before, we need refined carbon, some lime and iron. At the moment, we don't have enough lime. And the only way it seems at the moment we get the lime is with the eggshells. We can already see the magma biome here at the bottom, but I cannot see any fossils, which is what we would require to get more of the lime. Okay. I got a whole bunch of Draclet eggs from the printing pot. These are gonna give us some more lime, but primarily what we need to do is get to the other world. And right here, if we dig down a little bit, we should find plenty of fossils. This is also where we are gonna find all the oil and maybe even a couple of different creatures. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wait a little bit until we have these Draclet eggs. Or actually we could cook some of those up. I think I'm actually gonna do that. I mean, we have like 9 of those. If we cook up 3 Draclet eggs, how many eggshells do I need? 5 kilograms. Oh, that sounds like a lot. I just noticed that I probably got my initial steel from taking apart the computer desk. So I'm not gonna do that because not everyone will have this mod installed. Yeah, at this point we can literally do only 1 craft of steel. That is a little bit devastating. Let's have a look at the output of steel. This is gonna be pretty hot if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there we go. 81 degrees. Holy cow. So our 2 options are use the teleporter in order to set up a base on the other world and get some fossils, or we go ahead and do some extreme hatching in order to get these guys to lay more eggs. I think I might want to start with that first of all. So I'm just gonna make a little room right here. The largest ranch can be 96 tiles, but right now I don't really care too much about making these happy. They should just go ahead and lay some eggs. Within stations, we should be finding the grooming station. This is required to make this an acceptable ranch room. And at this point, we also want to set up a duplicate sensor and another ceiling light, since they're going to work on this station a lot quicker. And there we go, the room is completed. If we have a look at this, this is indeed an acceptable stable. Let's actually go ahead and set up a bunch of airflow tiles here as well. What should happen now is May, our rancher, should be coming here, grooming the critters. We can actually see her do that in the background at the moment. She's calling them, picking them up, and then doing all the good stuff. Gene, you're in the way. He had to idle in the way. I just don't believe it. Let's go ahead and pick up some more materials here, so at least they have something to do. But there we go, we can see May doing a phenomenal job. And now if we actually click on these, we should be able to see how far they are in the breeding process. Actually, they are still wild. We might have to wait for a little bit longer in order to figure that out. But I want to see some eggs really soon. Exosuit forge, we need 400 kilograms of steel. I crafted 100 kilograms, so I'm gonna need just a little bit more to make this work. Obviously, this is not going to be my permanent ranch, this is just a setup to farm the eggs right now. If they drop a stone hatchling egg, I'm not going to crack it, but any other egg I'm going to use in order to produce the last lime that I require. Wow, I'm actually a little bit surprised. This worked really well with the cooling down, so I think what I'm going to do is set up another system here on the top, just bring up some of these cold materials, and then we can distribute the chill a little bit around the base. It's gonna give us more time before heat is really gonna become an issue. And now just wait 1 second. We wanna take everything out of this chest and let them bring it to the other side as well. Yes, that's gonna be really good. We actually got enough lime in order to do another steel craft, which I'm gonna do. And I think I'm just gonna sacrifice all of my Draclet eggs. We still have some baby Draclets over here. They should be reproducing, no problemo. Otherwise, we still have enough. Yeah, let's just go ahead and kill these guys off. But I rather want to focus on this world still before we teleport over and actually set up a base in the other world. Now, Otto, I wonder, let me see your inventory. Eggshells, 1000 grams. Okay, so one eggshell is only 1000 grams. That's not good. That means I want to take away one egg, so at least we keep one egg right here sitting on the floor, and the other 5 we crack up. Actually, look at this. Yeah, we just have to look around a little bit. There are eggshells all over the place. Let me make my way in here in this case. And this way we should definitely have enough for the 2 remaining crafts. To keep these Dracos in place, I'm also gonna set up a pneumatic door right there. Also, there's another eggshell place over there. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one. We ladder our way up there. This should be good enough, and maybe set up a door right here. Even more eggshells in this place. You know what that means. We're gonna dig our way inside of here as well. Yes, Otto, you're my hero. Make me lime. We can now also see most of these critters are tamed, which gives us additional information in the condition screen. First and foremost, the reproduction rate. So this guy right here is 14% ready to lay another egg. Useful information you only get from the tamed creatures. I feel like these guys are not going dormant anytime soon. I just want to wall this off a little bit so we can combat the heat a little bit better. If we do this somewhat intelligently, we might even be able to close this off in order to wait for its dormant phase. And the same thing right here. It's not quite too hot yet in order to do that. Yeah, let me go ahead and try this. I've been waiting for these vents for long enough. Want to see this sorted out. We got a fry egg. Take advantage of that right away. Bunny with another skill point. We're gonna get into plumbing. At the moment their morale is pretty high because some of them had a really good meal and other temporary buffs, so don't get blinded by that and get ahead of yourselves. My goal at the moment is to keep the morale needs below 10 or so, but we can still do something with Jean, so she's gonna go into electrical engineering. As for May, we're gonna use the 3 points to get into critter ranching too. Also upgrade the hat. We're gonna wait with Marie, but Otto could do another one. Crop tending, should we do improved farming? No, that will get him to 10. So grilling 2 it is going to be. Yeah, that's gonna get him to 9. Eggshell. Jean, you absolute moron! No, get out of there! What? No, she is analyzing the darn... Cancel analysis. You gotta get out of there. Get out. Jean, get out! Okay, somebody has to take care of Jean. Wait a second. I did not set up the beds. I thought I did. Let's go ahead and craft one really quickly. I mean, like, really quickly. Ren, okay. So we have a bed in place. Now, please somebody take care of Jean. Okay, thank you. Well, now you know what you have to do. Jean is actually still doing his evening routine. But there we go. Recovering in the bed. Yeah, okay, I should have babysat them a little bit better. Get rid of this very dangerous ladder. Anyways, guys, you now know what I'm up to. I only need one more craft in order to get the necessary steel. And then at the beginning of the next episode, we should be able to build the exosuit forge and therefore also the new living area that is gonna be a complete and permanent build. But with that out of the way, a little bit of action at the end, I would say we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching, have a great time, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.